Hold up. Caitlin Clark just broke a 16-year-old record without even stepping on the court? You heard that right. The WNBA's Golden Girl is making waves, and she hasn't even played a single minute since that controversial loss to the Connecticut Sun in the first round. Talk about a power move.
But make no mistake, Caitlin Clark is doing things beyond her years.
But here's the irony. The league's acting like it's no big deal. A measly press release? Come on. We're talking about a generational talent here, folks. Clark's rewriting the record books, and the WNBA's treating it like yesterday's news. Something's gotta give. In this video, we'll break down Caitlin Clark's record-breaking season, the latest one she just broke without even playing, the WNBA's deafening silence, and what needs to be cleaned up in the WNBA to be a better product. Before we break it down, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Are you ready? Let's go.
People are going to have their feelings about it. You know, when you talk Caitlin Clark, there's always opinions circulating. But I mean, if you go through what she did in her rookie season, I mean, she holds the record for most assists in a game. She set a Fever franchise record for double-doubles, most points by a point guard in a single WNBA season. I mean, the list goes on the amount of records that this young woman has broken in her first year as a professional basketball player.
Yeah, I think it can't be overstated enough, like what she did to bring eyes to that sport. Whether people want to admit it or not, it's just a fact. And so it's just cool.
All right, let's talk about Caitlin Clark's freshman season. This wasn't just some good year for a first-timer. We're talking about a seismic shift in the WNBA landscape. Clark didn't just show up. She exploded onto the scene, leaving jaws on the floor and stat sheets in tatters. 62 records. That's not a typo. Clark shattered 62 WNBA records in her debut season. She wasn't playing basketball, she was rewriting the entire rulebook, and the WNBA's response. A press release that probably got less attention than paint drying on the wall. It's like they're allergic to success or something. Let's break down some of these mind-bending achievements. Clark averaged 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds per game. She led all rookies in every major statistical category. Her 8.4 assists per game and 337 assists for the season. That wasn't just good for a first-year player. It was the highest in the entire league. The previous record, 316, held by Alyssa Thomas. Clark broke one of her biggest bullies' claim to fame.
6 of 17 outside of Mitchell, but she's open and splashes home 3 more. A beautiful tandem.
But Clark wasn't content with just leading the league in assists. She also led the entire league in three-pointers in a season. Talk about someone that can both score and pass. Now, let's put Clark's debut season in perspective. We're talking about a debut that makes other WNBA legends look like they were playing in slow motion. Diana Taurasi's first season? Great, but not Clark great. Candace Parker's first year? Impressive. But it pales in comparison. Clark isn't just following in their footsteps, she's creating a whole new path. But here's where it gets really interesting. Remember how I said Clark broke a record without touching a basketball? Well, this is where it gets good. Clark just became the first rookie in 16 years to make the All-WNBA first team. The last time this happened? 2008, when Candace Parker did it. And get this, Clark got more votes than Alyssa Thomas, the same player whose assist record she crushed.
This just in, first team All-WNBA announced, and Caitlin Clark is the first rookie to make the first team since Candace Parker in 2008. Also on the first team, MVP Asia Wilson of the Aces, Nafisa Collier of the Lynx, Breanna Stewart of the Liberty, and the Suns' Alyssa Thomas.
We're talking about 52 first-team votes out of 67. That makes her the fourth most voted player overall. Not the fourth most voted freshman, the fourth most voted player, period. In her first year. Let that sink in for a second. So why does this matter? Why should we care about some rookie making a team that most fans probably don't even pay attention to? Because this isn't just about Clark. This is about the future of women's basketball. This is about a player who's not just participating in the game, but transforming it.
I came to see Caitlin Clark tonight.
Oh, gotta watch number 22.
I've been watching Caitlin for a couple of years, and since then I've dreamed about coming to a game.
Clark's impact goes beyond the stat sheet. She's bringing new fans to the game. She's forcing people to pay attention to women's basketball in a way they never have before. She's proving that the WNBA can be worthy of attention as any other professional sport with a big if and a big as long as. If they clean up their act and as long as they start treating their players properly. How can a league constantly put their most important assets, their players, at risk night in and night out? How can a league even ignore their most important stars and crucial moments of the season? We'll talk about these more in a bit. Clark's revolutionizing the game, but apparently the WNBA didn't get the memo. You'd think they'd be shouting her achievements from the rooftops, right? Wrong. Their response to Clark's historic season was about as exciting as watching grass grow. What's behind this deafening silence? If you've made it this far and are enjoying the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. We know watching this video takes some of your time, and we appreciate you. Now back to the action.
So when you look at what Caitlin Clark has done and what her ceiling is, she's only begun to crack into that, and it's exciting to watch. I think it makes sense.
Let's break it down. Clark's out here making history, setting records left and right, and the WNBA's acting like it's just another Tuesday. A press release? Really? That's all they could muster for a player who's single-handedly changing the face of women's basketball? It's like they're allergic to success or something. Gosh, even ESPN announced something on TV.
When you talk about this century, there have only been now 5. Caitlin is the 5th rookie this century to be on the WNBA first team. Special moment for her, rightfully so. She had a phenomenal season.
Compare this to how other leagues treat their stars. When Steph Curry breaks a record, the NBA pulls out all the stops, even calling a special timeout in between a game with a video and short ceremony. We're talking highlight reels, commemorative merch, social media blitzes, the works. But for Clark, crickets and tumbleweeds. And don't even get me started on that Rookie of the Year announcement. You'd think they'd roll out the red carpet, right? Nope. They announced it in practice via a phone call. For the player who's bringing more eyes to the league than anyone in recent memory. The commissioner didn't even show up to present the trophy and just sent it in the mail.
They decided that they were going to let her know she was Rookie of the Year with a phone call in Connecticut during a practice before a playoff game. You can't make this up.
So what gives? Why is the WNBA so quiet about their golden goose? Are they threatened by Clark's star power? Afraid she'll outshine the league itself? Or is it just good old-fashioned incompetence? Whatever the reason, it's a massive dropped ball. Here's the thing. Clark isn't just good for herself, she's good for the entire WNBA. She's bringing in new fans, boosting attendance, and making people care about women's basketball in a way they never have before. You'd think the league would be bending over backward to promote her. The WNBA's marketing strategy has been criticized for years, but with Clark's explosive debut, the cracks in their plan are showing. They've got a once-in-a-generation talent on their hands, and they're fumbling the bag.
I noticed when you're asking about Caitlin a lot, you bring up other rookies as well.
No league's ever about one player. That player could get hurt or whatever. So I think it's just to give recognition that in sports, people watch for compelling content and rivalries. And you can't do that alone as one person.
Now, you'd think with all this star power, Clark would be treated like royalty on the court, right? Wrong. Turns out, being a phenom in the WNBA is like painting a target on your back. And the refs? They're handing out paintbrushes. Let's talk about what's really going down on the hardwood. Clark's not just breaking records, she's breaking through walls of defenders. While she's getting hammered left and right, the refs are acting like they left their whistles in the locker room. It's like they're watching a different game or something. The numbers don't lie, folks. Clark received 17% of all flagrant fouls called in the WNBA during her rookie season. Let that sink in for a second. One player taking nearly a fifth of all the hardest hits in the entire league. That's not just unfair, it's downright dangerous. Remember that game against the Connecticut Sun? Clark took an eye poke from Dejounte Carrington that was so obvious, even the nosebleed seats could see it. The ref's response? Not a whistle to be heard.
With the increased attention this year, there's also been increased scrutiny about the quality of refereeing. Curious if there has been any conversation about whether it's referee pay, referee training, anything to ensure that is as good as it can be.
This isn't just about Clark, though. It's about the WNBA's whole approach to player safety and fair officiating. You've got star players getting knocked around like pinballs, and the league's response is basically a shrug and a "they're human."
Obviously, not every, they're humans. Looking at technology, basketball is a little more complex than tennis, for instance, around technology of officiating. So we're looking at a variety of different dimensions.
Compare this to how other leagues protect their stars. The NBA, they've got stricter guidelines and better training for refs to make sure their big names don't get bulldozed every game. But in the WNBA, it's like the Wild West out there. But here's where it gets really messed up. The commissioner that's supposed to keep things under control Yeah, she's more focused on rivalries.
One white, one black. And so we have that moment with these two. But the one thing I know about sports, you need rivalry. That's what makes people watch. They want to watch games of consequence between rivals. They don't want everybody being nice to one another.
So what's it going to take for the WNBA to wake up and smell the coffee? How many more hits does Clark have to take before someone steps in? At this rate, they're not just risking her safety, they're risking the future of the league. Because let's be real, if they can't protect their biggest stars, what hope do the rest of the players have? Hold up though. While we're busy pointing fingers at the WNBA's failings, Clark's been busy changing the game from the inside out. Ever wonder what happens when a freshman comes in and rewrites not just the record books but the entire playbook of how women's basketball is perceived, played, and promoted? We're about to find out. Let's talk about the Caitlin Clark effect. This isn't just some catchy phrase, it's a full-blown phenomenon. Despite the WNBA's lackluster support, Clark's impact is hitting like a freight train. We're talking about a seismic shift in the league's landscape, and it's all thanks to one rookie who refuses to play by the old rules. Now, I know what you're thinking. Can one player really transform an entire league? Well, when that player is Caitlin Clark, the answer is a resounding yes. Let's break it down.
Caitlin Clark is clearly a catalyst for a business that was, and let's be honest, Caitlin to some degree financially saved the WNBA. It was hemorrhaging money for years.
First up, viewership. Clark's debut season saw 21 broadcasts pulling in over 1 million viewers each. For a league that struggled to hit those numbers consistently, that's not just good, it's groundbreaking. We're talking about a freshman who's bringing more eyes to the game than some established stars. But it doesn't stop there. Attendance? Through the roof. The Indiana Fever set an all-time WNBA record, averaging over 17,000 fans per home game. That's more than quadruple their previous season's average. And it's not just the Fever. Every team in the league saw a boost when Clark came to town, even using bigger arenas when she's there. But here's where it gets really interesting. Clark's not just bringing in numbers, she's changing how people see women's basketball. Her style of play, it's electric. She's got a flair for the dramatic, pulling off plays that make you rewind the tape just to make sure you saw it right. And her personality, it's magnetic. She's got that rare combination of confidence and humility that makes fans feel like they're part of something special.
One of the greatest years of basketball with work put in by anybody ever.
So what could the WNBA look like if they fully embraced Clark's star power? We're talking about a league that could rival any of the other Big Four leagues in terms of excitement and fan engagement. Imagine packed arenas every night, primetime TV slots, and sponsorship deals that make other sports leagues jealous. That's the potential we're dealing with here. But let's be real, Clark's not just a player, she's a movement. She's proving that women's basketball can be just as thrilling, just as skillful, and just as worthy of attention as any other sport. And the WNBA? They need to get on board fast or they're going to get left in the dust. Let's be real. Caitlin Clark isn't just changing the game. She's redefining it. The WNBA's got a once-in-a-generation talent on their hands, and they're acting like it's no big deal. Wake up, folks. This isn't just about records or stats. It's about the future of women's basketball. The ball's in the WNBA's court now. They can either step up and give Clark the platform she deserves, or watch her revolutionize the sport without them. And trust me, she'll do it with or without their support. One thing's for sure, Caitlin Clark's just getting started, and whether the WNBA likes it or not, we're all along for the ride. Do you agree? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.